The National Housing Strategy for Disabled People 2022 to 2027 was launched in January. It replaced the National Housing Strategy for People with Disabilities, which was meant to run from 2011 to 2016, but actually extended to 2021. So what is a strategy? Well, it's a plan made by the government that tells us what they are going to do. The housing strategy will happen over 5 years. This strategy has 4 parts: what has been done, where we are now, where we want to get to, and how we will get there. The strategy was guided by the Housing for All policy, a new housing plan for Ireland, and the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. The National Housing Strategy for Disabled People was developed by the Department of Housing, Local Government and Heritage, the Department of Health, the Department of Children, Equality, Disability, Integration and Youth, and the Housing Agency. The government wanted to make sure that the voices and needs of disabled people were kept central to the strategy. To do this, they spoke to disabled people's organisations, supporters and family members over a period of 8 months. This important work was facilitated by the Housing Agency. They found out about their experiences, what barriers they face, their hopes for the future, and what an Ireland where everyone had equal access to the home of their choice could look like. After all of this information was gathered, 6 themes emerged. These included accessible housing and communities. So, what do we mean when we talk about access? We mean that everything should be fully accessible for everyone to use or experience, including those who may have to do things differently. There are 4 types of disability mentioned in the strategy, and they are intellectual, physical, sensory, and mental health. People who are in these groups experience access barriers both at home and within the community. Accessible housing doesn't just mean that you can get into your house. It means that you have access to things such as transport, education, buildings, parks, friends, work, services for health and well-being, and much more. Also, getting into your house is one thing. Being able to fully enjoy and experience everything in your home can be a different story. Interagency, collaboration, and the provision of supports. This is the second housing strategy for disabled people in Ireland. In the first strategy, points were added so that each local authority would have a disability housing steering group. It was believed that by placing emphasis at a local level, it meant the implementation of the strategy could be more responsive, adapting to the different needs of individuals. These groups contain representatives from stakeholders involved in housing for disabled people, such as the local housing authorities, approved housing bodies, disabled people's organisations, and the HSE. The idea is that everyone works together on all steps involved in supporting people to live independently, sharing knowledge, expertise, and support where needed. The new strategy continues to support the development and progress of these groups, and their local strategic plans will be reviewed in light of that this year. Here at Inclusion Ireland, we would like to see strong representation of people with intellectual disability, with self-advocates sitting on every steering group. Affordability of housing. There are many financial barriers for people with disabilities when it comes to housing and supported independent living. The Joint Committee on Disability Matters wrote a report that highlighted that housing adaptation grants can be difficult to obtain and means tests are too limiting. There are low levels of supply of housing adaptation grants and a lack of progress with capital assistance schemes. Rental costs in the private market are too high. A recent report made for the Department of Social Protection said that disabled people face costs that non-disabled people do not face. In some cases, these can add up to as much as almost €12,000 per year. They made suggestions for the government to think about when writing new plans, which included better access to grants and allowances, better opportunities in employment, personalised budgets, and income support. The independent living movement joined us at Inclusion Ireland in 2021 to put together a report. It was called Our Housing Rights, Tackling the Housing Crisis that Disabled People Face. And it said that the message on affordable housing from disabled people is that it does not exist at present as an option. Employment rates for disabled people are well below the rate for the general population, and consequently poverty rates are much higher, and this leaves disabled people at a disadvantage in purchasing or renting a home of their own. Communication and access to information. The Housing Agency are going to work to ensure that people with disabilities have accessible, regular, consistent and accurate information from state agencies. People with disabilities will be given the opportunities, time and support that they need to give feedback and gain access to information on anything that they would like to know about housing. The government are hoping to publish their communication strategy later in 2022, and they are developing their website www.housingforall.ie so that people can get all the information that they need about housing in one place. Theme 5 is knowledge, capacity and expertise. The strategy aims to increase awareness and understanding of disability and housing within the relevant organisations. It also places an emphasis on increasing awareness regarding disabled people effectively participating and being included in their communities. This will include all the people who work in the area of housing and supported independent living working together to share knowledge and training. It also says that disabled people will be involved in providing training where possible. Different areas of training may include the Assisted Decision Making or Capacity Act of 2015, the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, public sector duty, bias, and awareness of the barriers faced by disabled people. And finally, Theme 6 is strategy alignment. So that we achieve all the points written in the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities and ensure that disabled people have their rights protected, the departments within our government have written lots of policies, strategies and guidance documents. The new strategy must be carried out with all of these in mind, so that everyone is working towards the same goals in the best way possible. The practical steps that the government plan to take will be included in the implementation plan. This is like a roadmap telling us where we are going, how we will get there, and what to expect when we complete our journey. It will also help us to evaluate its progress over the next 5 years. We expect to see publication of the implementation plan late in the summer of 2022. But what is important about housing to you? Do you think that the strategy represents your choices, needs and hopes for supporting independent living? We'd love to hear the voices and stories of individuals in our community, so get in touch and tell us what you think at info@inclusionireland.ie. You can also check us out on our social media. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram and Facebook. This video introduced the National Housing Strategy for Disabled People 2022 to 2027. If you'd like to learn more, you can check out our other housing videos or our easy-to-read guide about the housing strategy on the housing section of our website at www.inclusionireland.ie/housing. Thank you for watching our video, and we hope that you enjoyed learning about the National Housing Strategy for Disabled People. For more information about housing and supported independent living, check out the housing section on our website. You can find it at www.inclusionireland.ie/housing. If you'd like to know more about our work, you can find us on our website at www.inclusionireland.ie. Or why don't you check us out on our social media? You'll find us at Twitter, Facebook and on Instagram. If you found this video useful, head on over to our YouTube channel, click like and subscribe to keep informed about new content, and join our movement for change.